Hi everyone, it's Lynn Dion here from Pink Whisper Designs. Today I thought I'd show you a product that I just recently purchased. It's Metallic Gilding Polish and it's from Creative Expressions, and we're going to use that along with the Tim Holtz 3D Texture Fades Embossing Folders. We're going to create 2 cards today, but if you stick around till the end of the video, I'll show you a few more projects that I created with these gilding polishes. So for the first card, we're going to use this Sizzix 3D Texture Fades Embossing Folder from Tim Holtz, and this one is called Mechanics, and it's got all these fantastic gears on it. So I'm going to grab a piece of 100-pound black cardstock, and this measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm going to place that in my embossing folder. I'm going to be running this through my die cutting machine, and you will want to use the directions for your specific machine on a 3D embossing folder. Now this is called Metallic Gilding Polish, and this is from Creative Expressions. And these are these beautiful metallic looking polishes that you can apply to your cardstock. And the foam applicator is in the lid of the jar. So I find the easiest way to get those off is to place your lid on the table and then just kind of push that little tab to the side there and they'll pop right out. So what's really nice is you can store these together. So this is the Silver Dream Gilding Polish, and I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that, and I like to kind of pat off the excess on my table. I'm using my glass media mat from Tim Holtz, and I'm just going to apply this Silver Dream all over, and fairly light hand I'm using here. I'm just kind of removing the excess first and then coming onto my cardstock. So this is going to highlight the embossed area. And then I'm going to change colors here. Now I'm going to go to this gold, and this is called Gold Treasure. And again, I'm just going to kind of pick up a little bit of that color and tap off the excess on my glass mat. And then with a little bit lighter hand, I'm just going to apply gold, not all over, just kind of randomly here and there. I still want that silver to show through. And then for the last color, I'm going to take the Rich Red Gilding Polish. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. So you just kind of want to grab a little bit, scrape it along the edges of the jar, then pat off any excess. And then here I'm using even less, just a really light hand here, just to add a little highlight of that red here and there. And you can just see how beautiful these colors combine. I just absolutely love this. So now I want to also spatter this. I don't know if you're like I am, but if I can't just hit the high spots on an embossing folder, sometimes you get some ink down in the middle there where you didn't want it, in between the images. So to cover that up, you can just leave it like that. It's certainly fine. But I like to tie everything together and kind of distract from the fact that some of the ink got down in between there. So I like to just add a little bit of water here. So I just patted a little bit of color onto my glass mat, spritzed it with my distress sprayer, which just has water in it, and then I'm spattering it with a small brush. And you can see how that brings everything together now. So now I do want to trim this down a little bit. It's going to be on a standard A2 size card. So I'm going to cut this down so the final measurement will be 4 by 5 1/4. And that'll leave a little bit of border all the way around on my card. And I'm using my Tim Holtz paper trimmer to trim that down. So going back to that rich red color, I'm just going to use the ink that was left on that applicator and just go around all 4 sides here. Now here's my standard A2 size card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm going to attach this with my ATG 700 tape dispenser. And this is a permanent double stick tape that I have in here. And I'm just centering this on my card. And you can already see how beautiful that is. So now I'm going to grab the Sizzix Framelits, And this is from the Hearts, the Dotted Hearts collection. So I'm using that fourth largest die, and I'm using that Love You, which is just going to cut out the words. It won't actually cut out a heart. So I'm placing the Love You inside that larger heart. And again, I'm going to my black 100-pound cardstock, and I'm just going to tape that down with a little bit of purple tape. And then I'm going to center that Love You heart right in the middle there. Now I'll run that through my Spellbinders Platinum 6 die cutting machine, and you'll see that it die cut the negative of that Love You image. And I'm going to use my little pick tool just to poke out any of those little pieces that are left over. So now going back to my gold, I'm just going to take a piece of black cardstock, and I'm just going to apply the gold all over the background. I just want this big enough to fit that heart behind it. This is just going to create the gold paper that will match the gold we already used on the card. So now that heart is going to sit right over that, and that gold will show through. But I do want to trim this down, and I'm going to leave a little bit of a gold border all the way around the edges here. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that. And you can see that there. So now I want to add a little bit of gold around the edges of this heart. And then I did decide to add one more layer of the gold over the top of this, just to make it a little bit darker. So you can do this as many times as you need to. Now once that was dry, I'm going to take some Scotch foam mounting tape, and I'm going to pop this up. So I'm just going to put some little chunks of tape all the way around the back here. I'm removing the backing on the tape, and I'm just going to center this on that heart. So now you can place this anywhere on your card that you like. I'm going to put it down towards the bottom right hand side here. I'm going back to my ATG tape dispenser, and I'm going to attach this to my card. Now I want to add a couple little gears to this heart. So I'm going to my Tim Holtz gears, and these are called the sprocket gears. And I'm just going to grab a couple different ones here. I want one larger one, and then I want a smaller one to fit inside there. So that looks pretty good there. So I'm going to take my Ranger Multi-Medium Matte Glue, and this is going to attach these. It'll dry clear, and it's a super strong adhesive. And I just need glue on about 3/4 of this because it's going to kind of hang over the edge there. And then I'm going to glue this second gear right in the center of that. And again, this glue will hold these in place just fine. And it'll dry perfectly clear. So I'll give you a quick look at this card up close, but I will show you it again at the end of the video. So let's get started on the second card. This is again the Sizzix 3D Texture Fades, and this is the Botanical. And I just love this. This is beautiful. It's got these beautiful like swirls. It's got a lot of movement to it. So again, now this time I'm going to take 2 pieces of 100-pound black cardstock, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm going to use my oval dies from Hero Arts. These are the Infinity dies, and I'm going to take that one there, which is the 6th largest die. So I'm centering it on my cardstock, and I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine. Now once I have this all set, I'm going to now place it in my embossing folder. You can move that around a little bit just to get it lined up where you want it to be. And then again, I'm going to use the directions for my specific machine and run that through my die cutting machine. And you can see how beautiful this is. I think this is beautiful all by itself, but we are going to go back to those same 3 colors we used before. And I think you'll notice on this card that these 3 colors that are exactly the same are going to look totally different. So depending on the embossing folder that you select or the paper color you select, you'll see how different these are. And I do have more colors, which I'm hoping to incorporate into some future videos. And I just recently ordered a few more colors. But at the end of this video, I'll show you the ones that I do have. And you'll notice how different they appear on white paper versus black paper. Some of them have kind of an iridescent quality to them. So I'll show you that in a minute. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of gold ink all the way around the inside of this oval, just to define this a little bit better. And then for the edges, I want the corners to come in a little bit. So I'm going to add a little bit of extra ink up into the corners here. And then I'm going to go around the entire outside of this. Just give that a little bit of a border. So we're just kind of defining the edges here a little bit. Now I want to spatter this again, and this time I'm going to use two colors. I'm going to use the red and the gold. You could certainly use all three or just one, whatever you prefer here, but I thought I'd bring a little bit more of the red. So again, I'm spritzing it with water using this small brush, and I'm just going to spatter this on. So I'm going to go ahead and spatter it with the gold, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the red. Just cleaning off the brush in between colors. And then when you're done spattering this, you can give it a quick heat set if you want, or just set it aside to dry. And now you can get a good look at that up close. This second black cardstock that we had cut earlier is going to go right behind that oval. And I just want it to be gold. So I'm just going to paint it gold using the same gold metallic. And I'm just using that applicator to just kind of pull it across that black paper. Now for this one, I wanted to leave that kind of dark and light area of the gold. I'm going to heat set this. You could certainly add more gold here like we did before, but in this case, I kind of liked it like that. So now I'm going to take my Sizzix Thinlits dies, and these are by Tim Holtz, and the Wildflower Stems 2, and I have the Wildflower Stems 1 here as well. And we're going to be using that flower in the middle there. I just wanted to show you both sets. Either of these sets or any of these flowers would work really well. So I grabbed the one that I wanted to use, and again I'm going back to my black cardstock, and I'm going to die cut this 3 times. And what we're going to do is layer these up. I don't need the whole thing, I just need about 3/4 of it. So I'm just going to run it through my Sizzix Sidekick machine. So I have all 3 of those cut. And now I'm going back to my Ranger Multi-Medium Matte glue, and I'm going to glue all 3 of these together. And I'm just placing little dots of glue on there, and then spend a little time here just to make sure everything's lined up. And again, I glued all 3 of those together. So now we have a nice thick embellishment here, and that's going to sit right inside our frame. It's a little bit long, so I'm just going to cut a little of that excess off. Now for the frame, I want to pop that up, so I'm going to go back to my Scotch foam mounting tape, and I'm going to go ahead and place tape all around that frame. I'm removing the backing, and then I'm just going to center this. I did have a little bit of excess black there, so I'm going to trim that away. And I'm using my Tim Holtz 9.5-inch shears because this makes a nice even cut all the way down the sides here. So now I can tuck that flower in place. And I'm going to go back to that Ranger Multi-Medium Matte and glue this down as well. I'm using a white card this time because I do want to put a note inside here, but you could certainly just place this on a black card. But I thought I want to put a sentiment inside that will show, and I also want to write a note in here. So I'm just going to center this on my card front and attach these two together. Now, for the saying, these are the metallic stickers. These are the quotations, again from Tim Holtz. You have black with gold, black with silver, white with gold, and white with silver. And we're going to use the black with gold. And you can see all the sentiments you have here, like this happy life, collect beautiful moments, lost and found. I just love this. I use these a lot. So I'm going to take the hello friend one, and I'm just going to kind of place that right to the right hand side of my flower here. And I did want to show you using those same stickers and the same technique that we used for the frame. I created this cover for my little art journal here. And what I did is I just did the same exact technique, and I'm using this for all my color swatches for my gilding polishes. As I said earlier, I'll be showing you some more of these, and I have a few more colors coming. I think I ordered 4 more colors. But you can see how different they look on white paper versus black paper. It almost changes color. And that's what's so fun about these. So I'll be sharing more of this with you in the future. And then I also did the same exact technique and created a bookmark, which I'll complete with a ribbon or something at the top there. And then I wanted to show you the same 3 colors on a Kraft cardstock. This is just a plain Kraft cardstock, and I thought this would be really pretty with the white with gold or white with silver letters for the sentiment. So I just have that as a background, which I plan on making a card with at some point. But going back to the card that we made first, I wanted to show you that up close. Everything's dry now. And this makes a great card for a guy. These actually, I'm making 2 of these for my sons for Valentine's Day. And then this here is the floral one that we did. And you can see how that spattering just kind of really brings everything together. I also wanted to show you that for these gilding polishes, if before you put them away, just give them a little spritz of water and then clean off the lids so that they're easier to open the next time you go to use them. I found that to be helpful. And then you can just screw the top back on. Now for these little foam applicators, my understanding is you can leave them with the ink on them. But I do like to clean off my supplies when I'm done for the day. So I took these to the sink and I wanted to show you that they clean off beautifully. So you can just pop those right back on the lids and everything is stored together. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to visit me at pinkwhisperdesigns.com. And thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.